somebody's birthday today. This is a special organization because of Mr. Lurie. He gives us everything we need so we can win. And we appreciate that. Let's sing happy birthday to him. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lurie. Happy birthday to you. Mr. Lurie, bring us on.
I will say this. No place I'd rather be for my birthday on the plane. 1, 2, 3.
Eagle!
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's time for the flying take on this Flying Friday, baby. Ooh, it's Green Friday. We're over here excited, ecstatic. Week 1 went down. We just saw ourselves a thriller last night with the Detroit Lions stepping in to Kansas City and leaving Arrowhead with a victory. Week 1, again, as I mentioned before, is one of the highest rated weeks of upsets. So when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles and what we got this week, hey, I'm not looking past the Patriots whatsoever. I know that this team is confident. I know this team wants to go ahead and get back there and do what the Lions did to the Chiefs, and that is beat the Chiefs. But this time we want to go ahead and do it in the grandest stage of them all in the Super Bowl. That being said, BIRDGANG 31, how you feeling today? What's the vibe right now? We are 2 days away from opening kickoff of our Philadelphia Eagles.
I am so excited. Like, woo, it's 2 days, man. 2 days. And after watching that Chiefs game, and hey, Chiefs didn't have some star players. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it $100. They didn't have the best defensive player, Chris Jones. They didn't have the best offensive player in Travis Kelce, but they had a good game. The Lions definitely went out there and won that game. It sucks seeing C.J. Gardner-Johnson out there making plays for another team, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But they took that L, but that's something that the Eagles will not be doing 2 days from now, and I feel excited about it. Happy birthday to our owner, Jeffrey Lurie, because it is his birthday. And salute to you, my guy.
Indeed, a happy birthday to our owner, Jeffrey Lurie. He took ownership of this team back in 1994. And as of right now, I'm just going through off the top of my head on once he took ownership. Think about it, 94, it's about to be 30 years. Next year is about to be 30 years since he's taken over. Think about it. We've seen this team now in 3 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
We've had, 11, 13. We've had I would say since 94, I think we've had around between 15 to 16 winning seasons. Someone remind me of that. Multiple NFC Championship game appearances, and right now we're just came off of a Super Bowl appearance and in position to make another one this year. Ever since he's taken over, he has turned this organization all the way around. I know that the Philadelphia Eagles, they've been in a competitive team, you could say, during the Buddy Ryan days, and we could all pretty much say since Dick Vermeil took over that, okay, that's when the team started to look a bit promising, just because I know that they went through the rough patches during the 60s and early 70s. But really, once Jeffrey Lurie took over, that's what really put the Philadelphia Eagles in that position where not only they're competing, but they're contenders.
Yes. Real contenders. I think I just read something saying something about, we have the most division championships, since the early 40s or something like that. We have 20, I think it was 20 division championships. That's not in the league right now. Not championships overall, but division championships. I see another one coming this year. So,
all right,
definitely put his stamp on the league. He's one of the richest owners we got. In the league right now. He's hired some of the best coaches, to even coach. You think about even the Andy Reid tree itself. Think about every good team right now in the league. Most of them came off the Andy Reid tree. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Most of them came off the Andy Reid, either the Belichick tree or the Andy Reid tree, but most of them did. The ones that are top tier right now come from the Andy Reid tree. So, he's hired some really good football coaches. He's hired some really good staff. We got the best GM in football, Howie Roseman. Salute to you, Howie, too, for doing your thing this year. And I just think, we got to give love to him, straight up love, for our owner, changing the whole dynamic of the team. I remember years where the Eagles were trash. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
straight trash. I loved them, but we were trash,
Yeah.
but that's not the case right now. We are one of the most dominated teams. I think we're going to definitely dominate. So we're going to dominate as long as he's the owner. He's going to make sure that we got the things necessary, like Sirianni said in that speech, to be a dominating football team.
I think what makes me appreciate Jeffrey Lurie is the fact that he's just as impatient as I am. When it comes to winning, he's after a couple losing seasons. He's going to be looking at you. He's going to be like, "So what are we doing here?" It's funny because he gave Andy Reid. He gave Andy Reid as long as he gave him, because Andy Reid, what would happen is obviously he started off hot, consistently making conference championship appearances and eventually the Super Bowl. We had a letdown in 05, but came back to the playoffs in 06. Letdown in 07, NFC championship game in 08. Back in the wild card in 09, another playoff appearance in 2010. It didn't take until 2011 and 2012 when we missed the playoffs in back-to-back years where Lurie was like, you know what, it's time to go ahead and finally go. And even Chip Kelly, we came back, made the playoffs immediately with Chip Kelly, but then we missed it in 14-15. He said, okay, back-to-back years, that's it, you're gone. Let's bring in Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson, he gave him time to rebuild, gave him Carson Wentz that first year, and we're thinking that, okay, we're going to try to build around this, which they successfully did. They orchestrated a Super Bowl winning team in 2017, and even then, Jeffrey Lurie is like, okay, well, we're in this position. I gambled a lot for this guy, Carson Wentz, and we stacked this team up. Now I want to be back in here. I don't want to be kind of forgotten. And the Eagles kind of struggled to get back into Super Bowl contention. I know we made that run in 2018 towards the end, and it gave us and it led us to be very, very hopeful. But 2019 took a step back, wild card exit, and then we all know the disastrous 2020 season. And at that point in time, there's a lot of drama already going on, and it felt like there needed to be a new regime. Again, Jeffrey Lurie, he's just as impatient as you. He's just as impatient as me. He said, no, if it's going towards the wrong direction, let's start something new again. And what did he decide to do? Okay, we're going to give Jalen Hurts now. He's going to be at the helm of this organization. And Nick Sirianni, you're going to be the guy that's going to go ahead and lead us. What's going to happen? First year, Jalen Hurts as a starter, rookie head coach Nick Sirianni, they already brought us back to the playoffs. And these guys are just getting their foot in the water, and they already put us back into the playoffs. And then the following year took us to the Super Bowl. So now we're in prime position to make another run. And not only this time just make an appearance, but hoist that Lombardi at the end of the game. At the end of the game, we're going to want to go ahead and hoist that Lombardi. And so that being said, again, I thank our owner for that. I thank our owner for putting in this position. Really trusting Howie Roseman and allowing us to really and telling us to play that patient game with Howie Roseman, because we've been having an up and down relationship with Howie throughout the years, but he eventually got it. He eventually got it going, and now look at us. Now look at us in this position.
Yeah, man. Howie, man, and shout out to Howie. Like I said, Howie has done a job, but it took some humbleness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It takes for him to really want to be that guy, because you gotta realize, yes, we hated Howie for a long time. Even Chip Kelly. Kelly hated. They booted him out of the GM spot. They gave Chip Kelly, player command. You see what he did with it. Got rid of some of the most historical players the Eagles ever had. Sean Jackson, McCoy. Did he get rid of Vic?
He got rid of Jeremy Maclin after Jeremy Maclin had a hell of a year. He had his best career year in 2014, and nope, we didn't see Maclin after that.
Yeah, and he got rid of so many players, but Howie didn't just take that hit and say, "Oh, I'm a failure." He went to some of the best, owners, the best GMs in the whole, not just football, but every sport out there. And he was picking their brains. I heard him. He was in soccer leagues. He was in baseball leagues. He was in all these different leagues, trying to just pick the brains of the best GM so he can come back strong. And sure enough, we fired Chip Kelly. He came back strong. He became our GM. But since then, even some of the misses, you cannot blame them for the misses, because they were still in that whole analytic stage. You know what I'm saying? We all hated the stage.
Yep.
We hated it. Because even me as a fan, I was like, just go to the best school and pick the best damn players. It ain't that hard. You're skipping over all these good players because you're trying to be too technical and pick this person that might fit this and fit that, whatever. He had some misses, but you got to realize during that whole process, we hated him for the misses, but we still had some hits during that time. You know what I'm saying? We have some players that have been with us for a long time that's done a lot of great things since then, too. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we decided to switch on over and go to the obvious talent at this moment in time. I think that this team and the way this organization ended up transitioning itself into just going for the obvious talent. Let's just go ahead and do that. Let's just stick with what's there, because what we were trying to do before, we were trying to be too smart. It seems like we were like almost damn near trying to play like, if y'all seen the movie Moneyball with Jonah Hill, and we're just trying to go ahead and just like kind of play it cheap and try to be smarter than everybody in the room. And it's just like, you know what, that can only go so far. Sure, maybe you have some people that maybe have turned out when it comes to that kind of strategy, but overall it just was not happening. We just were not having the dogs anymore, and I think in football you need to have dogs. You need to have dogs in that locker room. Literally, that we literally went after dogs, Georgia Bulldogs. That's
straight up. Yeah.
So yeah, we really needed to go ahead and add that swagger. And I know what you just mentioned at the start of this video when we were just talking about the game last night with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I did tweet, I'm going to miss that personality and swagger that he did add to the defense. And you see, he already made an impact in Detroit. He was a big impact in that game. Now, granted, like you said, Kansas City, they didn't have their obvious stud tight end, Hall of Fame tight end, and Travis Kelce. And obviously we're seeing now how much of a big role in that offense. And I think I was watching Undisputed this morning where Skip Bayless, they're saying how Skip Bayless, he was even challenging them. He was like, I know everybody's saying that Batman didn't have his Robin last night, but I don't think Travis Kelce is Robin. I think Travis Kelce is Batman, the way how impactful he is with that offense. And I'm over here like, you're damn near right. Travis Kelce, he was doing great with Alex Smith. People tend to forget. So it's almost like how much of that Chiefs offense needed. But nonetheless, though, to go ahead and go back to the Chauncey Gardner and the mentality, and I think that the Eagles, I'm going to be missing that. But you see the personality of this team and the swagger that they're continuing to carry on, that momentum. I think it's still there. I think that they added some good personality with Jalen Carter in there. I think that he has a little bit nitty gritty. I know that he got into his situation. Don't want to go ahead and dive too deep into it, but it's almost like, how dangerous are you, my guy? You know what I mean? But hey, it's a little bit of that spice that we need. We all know about the Ray Lewis situation, and damn it, he showed it out there on that football field.
No one talks about it, really. You think about it. No one talks about that. He's the greatest linebacker of all time. Everybody praise him. I praise him. He's a great linebacker, but like a lot of the great players got a little bit of a pass that they got covered up. Let's just say that they got covered up, but no one really talks about that. From that football field, you need someone like, hey, who was it? I forgot who said it. He goes, I want play. It was Deion Sanders.
Deion Sanders.
Yeah, I want players that don't got that on defense. I want players that don't got a daddy.
Exactly.
That hard lives.
It's that mindset. There's a certain mindset that folks will carry that you want to go ahead and see it translate on the football field. Because again, football is a violent sport. No matter how much they're going to go ahead and try to make it as safe as possible, you're hitting, you're banging heads, you're going to be attacking, you're going to be wanting to rip each other's heads off out there. So you definitely need to have a bit of that chip on your shoulder, a bit of that dangerous kind of lifestyle mindset in you, and now seeing the Eagles going after that. And I remember when we drafted Deshaun Jackson, why Deshaun Jackson dropped in the second round, because Deshaun Jackson was supposed to be a first-round receiver. We drafted Deshaun Jackson in the second round. We took a chance on him, and sure, maybe he had his problems. I remember Andy Reid benched him when we lost to John Skelton in the Cardinals. He benched him prior to the game because Jackson was being a bit of a locker room case, and whatever happened for the Chip Kelly fallout. But nonetheless, so Deshaun Jackson gave us many years of exciting, explosive moments in that Eagles uniform, and it's just because the way he carried himself as well. That still translated out there on that football field.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So yeah, we definitely got to give Howie his flowers. Like he put together a team over the last 10, 15 years. Like we've been good for a while now, guys. Like we've been winning division championships. Yes, only one Super Bowl, but we've been in the playoffs numerous times. I think we have the most wins, as an organization over the last, 20 years or whatnot. So it's
since 2000.
Since 2000. So we've been doing our thing for a long time. That is a question. I don't know if we've talked about it before, but they said on here that this is a good roster. This is a good roster as they've had any of the 30. This is a good roster they've ever had in the last 33 years. What this guy's saying? I think it was who was that said at the bottom of my head?
Angelo Catali.
Yeah, Andre Turner. So, this is the best team. Do you really feel like this is the best team you've seen from the Eagles, like roster-wise, going into the season?
All right, so here is my thing. When it comes to best overall roster, obviously on paper they look magnificent, okay? But also what goes into having the best roster is having great depth. I think on paper in 2017, the Eagles had such a great roster, but we also had great depth. Think about the amount of guys that we lost for the year. A lot of guys that went on IR in 2017, and it didn't matter because the depth we had. That completes the roster, because you see where the Chiefs lose Travis Kelce, and they're looking like an average team. They're looking like
Jones is big. He's like one of the
and Chris Jones. So you telling me you lose those two guys, you lose Chris Jones and you lose Travis Kelce, you're going to go ahead and completely collapse and take a step back? At least I know, hey, if A.J. Brown has to miss a game, we still have Devontae Smith to throw to. We still have Dallas Goedert in that offense. We still have that running game with Rashad Penny, DeAndre Swift, Kenneth Gainwell, Quez Watkins that could go ahead and still be running around some burning over the top. And, of course, we still have an MVP candidate quarterback in Jalen Hurts. At the end of the day, it's going to be a hurt. It's going to bite a little bit if we lose an A.J. Brown for a game or two, but you're still confident and you will still expect the Philadelphia Eagles to go ahead and step in and win that game just because of the surrounding talent that's still around there. Same thing on the defensive side. We lose our best defensive player at this moment in time. Who would be our best defensive player? Darius Slay. Would we all agree that maybe
all of them, man? Like, who's not the best defensive player on this roster? For real, we got so many. Like, you could say, like.
Everybody is everybody's top tier along on the defensive side, but nonetheless,
it's bring it down. They all
it's so that being said, so that right there, it's one of those cases of when you see the Eagles and you see the roster and on paper and depth wise as well on how we position ourselves, I think that this is as stacked and deep of a roster that we potentially have ever had. Again, it compares to 2017. It even compares to 2004. We lost Terrell Owens for the whole entire playoffs to the Super Bowl, and we still made it to the Super Bowl. A lot of people forget that. We didn't have T.O. for the divisional round and NFC Championship game, but because we were not only stacked on paper, but also our depth-wise as well, we were able to still compete. So this does give you the 2017 vibes where starter wise, everybody on there checks the bar or checks the list, and even our backups could go ahead and contribute.
Yeah, man. Hey, shout out to Howie. You know me, I'm always gonna throw a plug in there when I can. So go get your King of the Cap, Howie Roseman from Sprint Champs, the one that brought you the Hurt Season hats. Go ahead and get your King of the Cap Howie Roseman Matrix style shirt. It is legit, and actually it's been selling like crazy. So everybody make sure you go get you one. I would say our best defensive player is this guy right here, Hassan Reddick, man.
Ooh.
Hassan Reddick.
I could agree with that. It's everybody. It really could be anybody at this moment in time. Hassan Reddick, Darius Slay, Jalen Carter could go out there and just be a freak of nature, for crying out loud, and look like Aaron Donald.
Facts, but I think they asked him, how can it be better than last year? He said to be better than last year, as hard as it may be, I want to be better and more impactful than I was last year. As far as the defense, we just want to continue to dominate when it comes up to your schedule, or when it comes up to your schedule and you see us, Philadelphia, you want to know that, damn, that's a tough week. You know what I'm saying? That they want to go out there and be dominant from the jump every single game. That's like a dog mentality that we talk about. They want to go out there and hurt people. I call this the body bag, not the revenge tour season, the body bag season, because I don't see no offense that's going to be able to stop these guys consistently. Not one. No one has our offensive line, and you hear our offensive line talk about how it's hard to stop them at practice. So it's like the talent that we got. Look at these guys. Look at these dogs out here. Look at that. You got Reddick, Graham, Carter, Cox, Sweat, Davis, Smith, Williams, Ojohu, Street, Barnett, Tilopo, Johnston. Like, we got enough players to start 3 deep in the line of 3 separate
teams. Depth.
Like, that's the depth you're talking about, and that's the depth that's going to attack. When it comes up to this season, like I said, Name like an offensive line you even think that's going to be. Who are you going to double team for one? Because I think they're going to try to stop Reddick, stop Sweat, and stop BG. Because you think last year when we had, 5 guys go double digit, those were the key guys going double digit. Reddick had 16 sacks, Sweat had 11 sacks, BG had 10 or 11 sacks. So those are, teams are going to try to figure out how we're going to stop the ends. But now bringing in a Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis on his second year, slimmed down, ready to dominate, getting sacks in practice. We didn't even hear that. No one even expects Jordan Davis to get sacks. I think he might end up to be the one with the double-digit sacks, because he is going to start off right after back, and that size and that athleticism is going to be hard to stop for anybody. So I just think we got to really look at the situation and think that we are in a good situation like Phil and Shaq. Like we are in a great situation right now. Now it's going to be very hard to stop these guys because you can't double team nobody. But you got to keep going at that. You can't double team nobody. You're going to have to take your lumps one-on-one unless you're going to run 3 tight end personnel, where you got an extra blocker, one more blocker than you have. Because it's going to be hard to double team these guys. If Jalen Carter's monstering it out like he's been monstering it out this preseason, if Jordan Davis automatically he's too big to not double team, too fast not to double team, you got to double team him. You got to double team Sweat the way he's coming off. He's gotten better every single year he's played football. You know what I'm saying? He's gotten better on our football team. So you're going to have to give him some respect. The only one I can see maybe BG. He's a little older, but he still had the best career he had last year. Was the best he's ever had in his career. So, you can't even think that he's going to diminish.
Honestly, the way Brandon Graham is, I was going to say, to cut you off there, the way Brandon Graham is going, there's a lot of defensive ends who play to they're like 38, 39. What comes off the top of my mind is the Jared Allens, the Julius Peppers. They played very, very late into their 30s, and they were getting better and better throughout those final years. It was like they're aging like wine, and that's almost like what Brandon Graham is on, for crying out loud. He could be with us till he's damn near 37, 38. Be like the Jared Allen, be like the Julius Peppers, and still be impactful, and obviously we have the amount of talent, we have that support around him, where we're not looking at him like how we looked at him 10 years ago, where it's just like, hey, we drafted you to replace Trent Cole, so go out there and be Trent Cole. And and at that moment in time, he just wasn't established like that just yet as a pro and as a defensive end, and he really, really started to just get better as he got older, and especially just towards his 30s. That's when, in my opinion, he became an elite defensive end. So we might be dealing with that kind of situation where he's aging like fine wine. On defensive side overall, I think that the Eagles, obviously, we're always going to be looking at the linebacker position in question, but this is a chance for Nakobe Dean to step up now and really establish himself. I know that we were high on him last year when we drafted him, as so are the Eagles, and the fact that he fell in our position, now it's his chance to go ahead and prove, hey, I should have been that first round pick that I was projected to go ahead and be. I think Zach Cunningham is a great fill-in for when it comes to an experienced veteran in that position. I know that we took that chance when we signed Cunningham and Miles Jack, and I was thinking, well, they're going to be fill-ins for sure. However, because they're surrounded by so much talent on the defensive front, and you got the secondary, and it seems like we're going to be looking at Nakobe Dean to really step up. I don't think there's too much pressure on Zach Cunningham to really play such a big part. I just think that, hey, play that veteran fill-in void. That's it. We don't need you to go ahead and do too much. And then obviously on our secondary side, Terrell Edmonds continues to be an underrated signing, if you ask me. I know that we talked about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and maybe it could be a downgrade potentially that we lost Chauncey Gardner-Johnson compared to Terrell Edmonds, because that's just how it is. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, he's CGJ is just naturally just better. That's make no mistake about it. However, the way Terrell Edmonds was able to fit in that Pittsburgh defense last year, playing alongside with Minkah Fitzpatrick, you see that they, he is. It's one of those things where, how some guys could go ahead and be. You have impactful players who tend to go ahead and rely more on their talent, but then you have guys who are able to be system players who are able to get plugged into a system and fit right in the scheme along with others around them and really are just there to do their part. And that's what I see Terrell Edmonds doing. I think that's more of his game. With Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was able to allow him to run free and pretty much do whatever he wants because he's just naturally gifted and naturally talented and was able to go ahead and do such. But with Terrell Edmonds, he plays his position correctly. He does the fundamentals. What I see is just a very good, safe player that's not going to go ahead and be given anything over the top. Someone that's going to go ahead and be around the field and is going to help lead the defense alongside with Reed Blankenship. We might be having a hidden gem there. And, of course, our cornerbacks with James Bradbury and Darius Slay, very glad that we could bring him back. And Avonte Maddox, he's been establishing himself as a slot corner for us for the last 5 years or so. So the defensive side, I mean, yes, it's the top 3 defensive unit. They definitely have the chance to really expose the Patriots this Sunday. I say immediately, hey, attack their running game because they're going to try to control that clock with Ramondre Stevenson and Ezekiel Elliott. You want to go ahead and stop the running game and put the game on Mac Jones's arms, for crying out loud. Just put the game on Mac Jones's arms, and I think that at that moment in time, once we're in that position, the Eagles could start pulling away. On the offensive side, though, how you think that we're going to be matching up against a very physical defense with Bill Belichick, all right? And it's in Foxborough, week 1. You know, there's always a lot of tricks up their sleeves, as we saw yesterday with Dan Campbell doing a fake punt in his own 20. So, you know, this is the time where teams are going to go ahead and try to surprise you and try to catch you off guard. Bill Belichick, he's the king of that. That's why he is who he is. How do you think our offense is going to be matching up against this Patriots defense?
I think we're going to start out fast, man. Like, you know, the weapons at the end of the day, you know, and it goes back to even a little bit about this defense, not to even go backwards on you, but it goes back to that defense, man. They're going to be so dominating, you know, that's going to be hard for them. They're going to try to come out with that run game. You know, I feel like they're going to try to come run the ball down our throat, but we got the players on defense to stop that. You know, but you got to go. You got to go point for point with the Philadelphia Eagles this year. We're that team now. You know what I'm saying? Like point for point, we might break the record for our Eagles, and we might average 30 points a game easily. You know what I'm saying? Easily, because how are you going to stop Devontae? Just like we said on the defense, how are you going to stop those double teams? How are you going to double team Devontae? How are you going to double team AJ? How are you going to double team Goddard? You know, Swift is looking amazing. I seen him out there practicing with the receivers, you know, perfecting his craft for this season. You know, we got Kenny Gainwell coming out of the backfield. You know, we got so many weapons and plus we got the best quarterback in the league, Jalen Hurts. So when you got that, the first triple threat quarterback to make you decide what you want to do, and I'm gonna go ahead and decide the opposite. You know, I got 3 options. I can keep it myself. I can hand the ball off. I can throw it. You know, we got an offense that we have with the players that we have in it. It's a cheat code. It's a cheat code, and that's all you can call about is a cheat code because you can't stop everybody. You know, we got the best offensive line in football. We've had it for a while. You know, so it's like good players are not. They don't have enough good players on their defense to stop this offense. You know, they're not that great of a team. They're a good up-and-coming team, too. You know, Belichick always keeps their guys going. Belichick is a great coach for a long time. You know, you even see this little quote where he's talking about, you know, they're talking about Belichick said he's ready to stop the RPO system. You know, he's going to make life miserable for Hurts. That's never happened. You know, last year, be honest, you know, even the games we lost, 2 of them were not with Hurts in the game, right? And the one we lost, everything possibly that could go wrong for our football team went wrong for us to lose those football games. So
4 turnovers.
Other than that, we were dominant every other game. You know, every game the whole season. You know, every game during the season. Hurts lost 1 game last year during the regular season. You know, we were a dominant football team. We were blowing teams out by halftime. Some of the games weren't even as close as it looked at the final score because we went vanilla in the second half. So I think we gotten better on offense just for the chemistry level, just from, you know, another year with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and Goddard hanging out with Hurts in the offseason. You know, they're getting that much chemistry. You be seeing clips from the joint practices. Hurts throwing dimes. You hear AJ like he's throwing dimes out there.
Oh, you know,
Jalen's that much more comfortable with the offense. It's crazy, man. Like, I keep saying, like, if he takes another jump, it's over. The best quarterback ever. If you really want to think about it, everybody say I don't want to see him run this year. His passing that went up so much. He's gonna get that much more better and more efficient in passing. I don't want to see him run. I'm telling you, you let this guy do whatever the hell he wants to do. Because that's what's got him where he's at now. And that's what will continue us being a very balanced but efficient offense. He doesn't turn the ball over. And it's going to be hard to stop these cats, man. They're going to be out there balling all year long.
For me, I absolutely would love to see an encore performance. And I mean, if Jalen Hurts is back in the MVP discussion, man, hopefully this will be the time that he can go ahead and be the MVP, just because how close he was last year and how his impact last year was just so tremendous and so vital for us. As you saw how much we took a step back the minute he went down with that injury, and his progression throughout the year as a passer. There's a lot of good passing games that he had. I know that we were all focused on him as a runner and as an athlete, and that's no longer in question. We've been knowing Jalen Hurts is a tremendous athlete, and he does value his discipline on his body and making sure that his body is up to par in regards to taking hits in the NFL and being able to still move around and be as mobile as he is. But his progression as a passer is what stood out the most. You see what he did in the Super Bowl, out-throwing Patrick Mahomes point blank, period. He out-threw Patrick Mahomes, and you saw games like the Pittsburgh Steelers and Tennessee Titans where he's just chucking it up in the air and it's landing at the right spots, trusting his wide receivers and trusting that dynamic duo that he has, or I guess you could say the dynamic trio that he has with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, both 1,000-yard receivers. When was the last time Philadelphia has ever seen 2,000-yard receivers? That's unheard of. That's unheard of. We ain't never seen that. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you this. I look at last year's week 1 against the Detroit Lions, which I don't know about you guys, but hey, the Eagles were able to handle the Detroit Lions last year, week 1. I don't know why the Chiefs did it. Just playing. But I did see the way we started off. We had over 200 rushing yards that game. We had over 200 rushing yards, and I last time I checked, if I can go ahead and see some of the scores, I believe that I don't think we had one passing touchdown in that game. I think it was all nothing but rushing touchdowns. I know we had a pick 6 from James Bradbury, but in regards to the touchdowns that was scored, Jalen Hurts had a rushing touchdown, Miles Sanders had a rushing touchdown, Gainwell and Boston Scott. So we had 4 rushing touchdowns, let alone the pick 6. So we had no passing touchdowns last year. And I'm only bringing that up just because, again, it's week 1. We didn't see any of our starters in the preseason. You're on the road, just like how the Eagles were last year, once again opening the season on the road. And you're going up against a better defense. You're going up against a real Belichick defense. And so the reason why it stood out to me in regards to the rushing attack is because, again, we had over 200 yards rushing, which means we made a commitment to go ahead and run that ball and to be able to really get our offense slowly moving and slowly going. And as you saw, once the season started to progress, we opened ourselves up through the air. Now, when it comes to my ideal kind of scenario in this game, it's to absolutely, start off running the football. I would like to go ahead and see DeAndre Swift early on. Tries to go ahead and see. I think that he's going to be a great running back and great fill-in for Miles Sanders. I would like to go ahead and see us control the game, control the clock as well, before we start airing it out to the Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Now, that being said, if that is what is expected, if we're expected to go ahead and run the ball, because we have 4 tight ends and only 4 wide receivers, and we have 4 running backs. If all of that is telling us, and it's telling me that this is a power team, this is a team that's going to rely heavily on the trenches, both offensive and defensive side. We have the best offensive line, as you just stated. We have the best defensive line, and I think that we're going to be a team that's going to be very physical, and I think that that's how you want to go ahead and start off this year. Be physical, set the tone, punch them in the mouth early on, wear them down, and that is when, first play of the second half, we go over the top 50-yard bomb to A.J. Brown, and then we could go ahead and start opening up Devontae Smith on these post routes and Quez Watkins up the seam kind of vibe. So that's what I would like to go ahead and see how this offense would open up. And I think that would be our best position to really not only attack New England, but really get a momentum early on and not look back. I don't, I expect this to be a 2-score win against the Patriots, and we leave Foxborough 1-0.
Yeah, for sure. I think it'll be a little bit worse than that. But we definitely give our predictions at the end. I don't it's just not on our level, man. Let's just keep it beat. I know it's too early to say what they always like to say, but you know me, I'm gonna say it before. anybody else.
Okay.
Like this is not even going to be close, guys. It's going to be a actual excuse my friends. It's gonna be a hassle. They don't have the talent, guys. The talent of this roster, the hunger that these guys got, the players. You know what I'm saying? We picked the best 1 year contract players we can possibly get out there. You know, people that are proven, trying to get that next paycheck. You know, we want to pick the best players out of the draft the last couple of years and the best college football team. We got the best quarterback. We got the best receiver duel. We got the best cornerback duel. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got the best defensive line, the offensive line. When you got that much talent on your football team, teams like the Patriots should not even stand a chance against you. You know, everybody talk about the harder schedule, but I keep reminding everybody, if we were to play these same teams last year, they would have got beat. You know, with the team we had last year, we would have beat them last year because we were that dominating, man. Games were over at halftime. And I know it's the first game of the season. Any given Sunday, anybody can win, you know. But I'm just saying that Nick Sirianni, these guys, you know, when you got a coach like Nick Sirianni, he's fired up. You know what I'm saying? He's fired up right now, you know, and he's getting these boys fired up, ready to go. He don't take no, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's straight up dog out there when it comes to like coaching. You know, like I see something on Twitter here. I had to go ahead and show the clip. Like, it was like all of his outtapes. Like, what other coach in the league got outtakes like our coach, you know, Nick Sirianni? Take a look at this, man.
Here you go. Here you go. Let's go. Yeah.
Aren't you glad you play in Philadelphia? You know what I'm saying? Like, he's embraced the spirit of being a Philadelphia Eagle, man. Like, he's a coach like none other. I think he's got these guys ready to go, and it's not going to be one of them things. Like last year, everybody worried about not playing starters during the preseason, and what happened? We came and lit it up early. Like, Detroit did fight back at the end last year. Swift even had 200 yards. You know, but that's more of a defense thing. Gannon's out of here. I'm not looking at the side thinking he's going to be the same type of guy. We've already seen in his vanilla style defense, we've seen sacks. We've seen a lot more pressure than we normally see. We've seen a lot, you know, we still got the same system in terms of like we are cloud. You know, we do play a little of that shell type defense, but we're bringing a lot more pressure. We got better athletes. You know, when you talk about on the defensive side, you know, your safeties, your linebackers, you got a front seven like that, man. You ain't got to worry about they just got to do their damn job. You know, they don't have. Why I think Charlie Garner Johnson did so good with us last year because he was able to run free because the pressure that this D line's gonna get on every single quarterback. Think of Mac Jones. He's not a running quarterback. You know what I'm saying? He's not a very mobile quarterback. I think he got 2 knee braces on, for God's sake. You know, like he's not going nowhere. And to be able to, he got, you know, Sweat coming off one end, Reddick come off the other end. I heard that Nolan Smith's going to be playing this game. You got Smith coming. I see a lot of formations where they had Nolan, you know, and Reddick coming off both ends. You know what I'm saying? That's dangerous. You know, that's just straight dangerous. These guys are going to be attacking quarterbacks all year long. And only the mobile quarterbacks probably do a little something. But then at the end of the day, you know, your cornerbacks are probably going to have good years this year. The safeties are definitely going to have picks and, you know, turnovers and whatnot this year because the quarterback is only going to have 2 seconds to throw the football at max. You know, hike 1, 2. These guys are going to be, these dogs will be in their face. And, you know, especially Matt Jones, these guys are going to be all up in his face. Then you got a big guy like Jordan Davis, 6'8". He's going to be sitting there with his arms up right there. So you got to worry about not only the pressure, but if you try to throw a straight ball, you got all these big guys that are going to put their arms up in the middle of your face. So, man, I don't think this is going to be that close of a game, man. Like, I really think that I don't care Belichick being one of the best, you know, he got to prove it to me because since Tom Brady left, he ain't really did nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like Tom Brady, I was one of the ones that thought that they complement each other and it was more Belichick than Brady, but he's proving me wrong right now, you know, not doing nothing without Tom Brady. Tom Brady's won the championship since he left. You know, Belichick haven't done nothing yet.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead. Well, obviously, I'm going to kind of be a bit of a devil's advocate in here, just because I believe that just for the sake of the quality and just for the sake of the show, just because I think that we could all agree, and I'll go ahead and tell you one thing for sure is that yes, I do think the Philadelphia Eagles, I have them destined to go ahead and win this NFC conference again, because I am looking at that Super Bowl rematch. Or I would not be surprised if we take on the Bengals and Joe Burrow, because Burrow is that guy as well, and he tends to go ahead, and it always tends to be the Bengals and the Chiefs. So either or, I'll be ready to go ahead and see the Birds back in the Super Bowl. But for the sake of the show,
you see what Burrow said, right? You see what Burrow said? I got 3 Super Bowls this year.
Yep.
Chiefs twice, and the Eagles in February, my guy.
And that's why I was, like I said, I as much as I was always saying I want that Super Bowl rematch, the minute he said that, I said, okay, I tip my hat to you, Joe Burrow. I'm going to go ahead and throw you in that discussion, because yes, I would like to go ahead and see you in February as well, because I'll be an electrifying Super Bowl. Make no mistake about it. Come on now, Burrow, Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Eagles, Hurts, Goddard, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown. Imagine if we had Devontae Adams too. All right. But nonetheless,
he in Vegas though. You got that part right.
So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you this: then there's been 3 games last year, 3 games in Foxborough. Okay, 3 games in Foxborough where the Patriots did not allow a touchdown. Okay, 3 games where they shut out one of them, being the Detroit Lions, and held 2 other opponents to 3 points. Okay, so that being said, I mean, on the defensive side, this is what I'm talking about in regards to just what the tone that they're going to try to set, and you already see what they're trying to go ahead and do. They have a very questionable receiving core. They did sign Mike Gesicki from the Dolphins. He was a very good addition to that Dolphins offense, along with Hunter Henry. So they have a 2 tight end duo set. That's Bill Belichick, what he always likes to do, along with Ramondre Stevenson and Ezekiel Elliott. But again, on the defensive side, you still got Jabril Peppers in that secondary. They drafted Christian Gonzalez in that first round. You got Josh Uche. I know that Trey Flowers is out there still on that side. Matthew Judon, even our old boy Jalen Mills. So that being said, I mean, when it comes to this defensive front, I mean, can they go ahead and possibly surprise us? What happens if they hit us in the mouth early? What happens if they punch us in the mouth?
I will say this though. I heard the names you're talking about. I'm not, like I said, I'm not worried so much the offensive side, but I'm worried about them controlling the game. Like they have some good tight ends over there. Hunter Henry's no slouch for tight end. They do got a Zeke Elliott who wants to prove that he is still, a top tier back. I was in there, this offseason. I was like, hey, we need another power back. I went to Cowboys.
I was on Zeke to Philly train as well. Make no mistake. I was
Zeke to Philly train, man. Like, why not bring him in here? You know what I'm saying? Bring him in here. He's a big boy. He can do his thing. He looked good with Pollard last year. He wouldn't have been our number 1, but he could have came in and did some things, And I think Zeke is going to go out there to prove, he knows he's on the championship team. The Patriots won many championships, and he wants to be part of that experience as well. So, he's going to be a little bit extra motivated to get out there and do his thing. Stevenson had a great year last year. Your nice young running back. They get these guys rolling early. You know what I'm saying? That's a real test, I think we have the perfect answer for it. But at the end of the day, anything can happen. They all get paid, to make plays, on both sides of the ball. So if they start rolling with this running game, that could be a problem where they could do more. But keep a Jalen Hurts off the field. How did Kansas City beat us last year? At the end, they kept Jalen Hurts off the football field.
It was just
I tell you, if Hurts was out there one more drive, we win that Super Bowl, right?
I felt the Bills' pain when the Bills felt that in 2021 when Josh Allen, he led the team for a go-ahead score with 13 seconds left, thinking that they're going to go ahead and win. A couple big plays from Mahomes, they tie it up. Mahomes get the coin toss, and they win it in overtime. You never saw Josh Allen again after he led that team to a lead with the go-ahead score with 13 seconds left. So I was like, oh, so that's what the Bills fans are talking about because I wanted to see Jalen Hurts get that opportunity to lead the game down the field for potential game time, if not game winning drive. I felt like we were robbed of that. It was sick yesterday watching the banner drop for them because I just had to roll my eyes seeing that. And I'm gonna also tell you this too. I'm surprised that the NFL, because we already played the Chiefs this year, I'm surprised that they didn't give us that rematch opening kickoff. Imagine
I
that.
wanted it.
Imagine that we would have stepped in without their Chris Jones, without Travis Kelce. We would have dog walked them because we would have been pissed. We would have came in.
I want them with Kelce and Jones. You know, I'm telling you, another hot take. I don't really know if the Chiefs are going to make this to the Super Bowl this year. The AFC is so stacked, man. Like there's some really good football teams over there, and for the Chiefs to be so consistent, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if they're gonna make it again. Like you said, Burrow's planning on going to Super Bowl. I'm pretty sure Allen's planning on going to Super Bowl. I know Russell Wilson got Sean Payton over there in Denver. We don't know what's gonna happen over there. They're trying to go to the Super Bowl. There's a lot of good teams out there.
And they added Aaron Rodgers in that conference. Aaron Rodgers just went to the
that's definitely an underrated team, and no one's really talking about winning it all, which I think has a great possibility of making it to the Super Bowl. You know, the Jets have been good for a couple of years now, and they just ain't had a quarterback. Now you got the best quarterback, Mr. MVP himself. How many MVPs he got already? Like 2, 3, something like that. You know what I'm saying? The boy's a fight. You know, it doesn't matter how old he gets, he's out there slinging that rock. You know, and with the young talent they got on that roster, you might have to watch out for those guys before. You know, it's going to be an easier path for us to make it there for sure. But I want to beat the Chiefs in the regular season, and that's it. I don't even want to play them 2 times this year. I don't want a chance for a split. I don't want none of that. Like I told you before, I want to beat Big Red finally. Like he beat us every single year we played him since he left Philadelphia, and I feel like it's a curse for us firing him. You know what I'm saying? Like the fact that we fired him. I feel like Reed should have got another year when he got fired. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he should have got one more year. He had a lot of personal things going on in his life at that time. And I feel like he, you know, give him another year, let him get over that personal thing, let him see what he could have did. But nevertheless, that was, you know, it's neither here or there. He's been in Kansas City for a long time. But I do not like the fact that we have not beat him at all since he left. And I just want to beat him in regular season, full strength, just go in there and mollywop the Chiefs. And then, like, we don't have to see him the rest of the year.
You know, the interesting part about this is that it's funny because we beat the Chiefs, or no, we lose to Andy Reid, we lose to the Chiefs, and it's just like, for me, I started just taking it personal throughout the years because I'm just like, damn, Andy, like you became such a stacked head coach now, and just going back to the time where, you know, going back to the time even when I felt like the organization, I know we went to the different direction, and yes, maybe if we kept McNabb another year too long, we would not have gotten the Michael Vick 2010 season. So it's just like you got to take what you can get. But for me, Andy Reid does this thing where he doesn't like to give his quarterbacks really quality receivers. As you see what he's doing with Patrick Mahomes, he's only really relying on a tight end, and he had Tyreek Hill, and he got Tyreek Hill out of there. Now, granted, they still won the Super Bowl, but it's just like at the end of the day, it's just like, come on now. What is your personal vendetta? And the reason why I say that, you know, maybe he let go McNabb a year too early, because 2009, we saw a rookie Jeremy Maclin and a second-year Deshaun Jackson. And for me, I was just like, let's have McNabb work with Jeremy Maclin for one more year, as well as a third-year Deshaun Jackson, while you still have Jason Avant there and Brent Selleck. Give McNabb that final chance to have the weapons, because we only had T.O. for 1 year. He dealt with Pinkston and Thrash the first half of his career, and then Kevin Curtis was our big signing, Dante Stallworth for 1 year. I wanted to see McNabb with Jeremy Maclin, because we had Maclin as a rookie in 2009. That was his rookie year, and that was his only year with McNabb. I wanted McNabb with Maclin one more time and Jackson, and that was going to be it. But again, now granted, if that didn't happen, we would not have gotten the Michael Vick legendary 2010 season. So you just got to take what you can get.
Not Reed. Chip did that. If you kept Reed, you would have kept them. That's why I feel like. Chip got rid of cats.
Chip got rid of Chip definitely got rid of those guys. I think that with, unfortunately, Michael Vick, he started to kind of get banged up in 2011 and 2012, and he got banged up again in 2013, and that's when the Nick Foles show happened, and it was the rest is history at that moment in time. But Andy Reid, you know, again, I started taking it personal when he started to go ahead and beat us and kept beating us, and it's just like, bro, what's going on here? You're the reason why the Eagles have lost 2 Super Bowls now. In 2004, because y'all couldn't go ahead and adjust to that screenplay with the Patriots and Corey Dillon and all that. And then in 2022 last year, because you were the opposing coach. You are you're Two times you have caused the Philadelphia Eagles a ring, Andy Reid. This guy's no longer I'm sorry, but he's no longer Philadelphia royalty to me. He is no longer Philadelphia. I know that we always cherished Andy Reid for.
You did hate on Reid now.
I'm sorry. You couldn't win us a Super Bowl in 2004. You're beating us every time now. You're coaching the game of your life now every time we play you. And then you beat us last year in the Super Bowl. At the end of the day, you are costing us Super Bowls. You're costing us wins. No more. I know more of this Andy Reid love train. I'm done with it. All right. Doug Peterson came in. He did the job that you couldn't go ahead and do. He gave us the ring, and now next year, Yanni, he's about to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm done with Andy Reid. I moved on. He's that ex-girlfriend that, you know when you have that ex-girlfriend and like they kind of like end up kind of like just dating better than you. It reminds me of like my first ex, actually, where she just tries to go ahead and she tries to one-up me every single time, but it has not really moved on. I feel like that's the vibe Andy Reid is on. He hasn't necessarily moved on at the fact that he couldn't win in Philadelphia and that we moved on from him. And so now he's like kind of being a bit petty, and he kind of knows he's in a good situation and is just kind of shoving it in our face. Nah, I'm not for it anymore. I'm not for it.
How do you feel about this power ranking, man? You know, the power rankings came out. It says Kansas City, San Francisco, Philadelphia, Bengals, Miami, Jets, Jags, Bills, Seahawks, and Capitals.
Yeah, okay. Hold on. Are you not seeing the way Brock Purdy slings the ball? Did you see this preseason?
No, I didn't watch none of that.
You didn't see those 5-yard curl routes that he was hitting Brandon Ayuk and those crossing routes that he was throwing for a deep 3 to 4 yards, and they were just taking the ball and running all the way to the end zone with it?
No.
Obviously, I'm being sarcastic, y'all, when it comes to it, because I just think it's hilarious that everybody's still on this Brock Purdy hype train when it comes to it. You see him just sling the ball. He's not even taking chances down the field just because the Niners offense is just not schemed up and strategized like that. But the 49ers love fest, it eventually has got to go. I'm sorry, it's got to go. What they remind me of now, they're like they remind me of just actually more of an upgraded version of the Dallas Cowboys. Actually, we'll give them more respect, but they don't deserve that elite talk now because they're losing. Now, granted, they made 2 Super Bowls, 2011 and in 2019, but they haven't won. They're losing the NFC Championship game. They're losing the division round. They're still losing in the playoffs, these postseason exits. So for the last time for them to win Super Bowls was back in the 90s, but yet they're always now trying to hype up. Y'all on this I've lost respect for Kyle Shanahan after blowing a 28-3 lead. I don't know how you do that as being part of that coaching staff, and just like how I lost respect for Matt Ryan, I lost respect for a lot of the Falcons staff after blowing a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl. So for me, it's just like Kyle Shanahan. He's someone who presumably he chokes in the playoffs. Remember, he was up by 10 in 2019 against the Kansas City Chiefs. He was up by 10 in the fourth quarter in the Super Bowl. So he could have had 2 rings, but he couldn't get the job done, got conservative towards the end, and just starts to coach scary. And for me, I don't respect that. I can't respect that. And that's why is bogus the fact that they're in front of the Philadelphia Eagles.
They shouldn't be. I don't think the Chiefs be. A lot of reason why, too, the Chiefs lost yesterday because Bieniemy's gone. He called a different game. You've seen a different offense out there. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't the same offense Bieniemy led the last couple of years. Why they were one of the best offenses out there. Bieniemy's in Washington now. I think the Commanders are going to be a little bit better this year just because he got him. He's a smart offensive coordinator out there. And just with that loss, I would say Eagles are the best team in the NFL, period. Until we go out there and lay the bed, which I don't think we're going to do, you can't say that we're not. We're better on paper on offense and defensive side of the ball. They said we have one of the best teams put together for years, that anybody's ever really seen. So if I had to reorganize this, I'm saying Eagles 1. I'll give Chiefs 2. Just because Bieniemy left doesn't mean they're not a talented team. But San Francisco, they don't even really have quarterback. Purdy, that whole Purdy experiment, whatever, man.
Right.
We showed how unspecial he was. Nick Bosa's good. That defense is good. But guess what? That defense also lost, Ryan. That was their defensive coordinator. You know,
Right.
he made a presence on that defensive coordinator. So you got to still see what that defensive coordinator is going to do. So I'll put like Eagles. You know, I would go Kansas City. I'm gonna leapfrog everybody, and I'm gonna say the Jets move into the league for me. Like the young talent that they
Okay.
have, and the talent that they've had. How many first round? I mean, number one picks do they have on their defense? You know, in their offense. You know what I'm saying? Like they have a lot of first rounders. Last year, I think they're the first team ever to have offensive and defensive rookie of the year in the same year. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? With Sauce Gardner and Caleb Wilson out there receiver, man, that's crazy, man. It's like, so I'll go them, then I go to Bengals, then I'll probably go Bills. I like Miami. That's one game I do think the Eagles might have some struggle with this year. You know what I'm saying? It's Miami Dolphins. If Tua is playing at a high level, because you know how he gets hurt all the time. If he's in there slinging the rock, like that's a pair. Like I give it to us. I'm an Eagles fan. I give us the best duel, in NFL in terms of the top two receivers. But that's a close second, man. It's like how I say with Jalen Hurts and Patty Mahomes, 1A, 1B. That's 1A, 1B in terms of receiving course. Jalen Waddle's a monster, and Tyreek Hill's a cheetah. That's far for any cornerback to do. And we got old corners. So that 2-3 seconds, if Tua can hike the ball and throw it as far as he possibly can, they're fast enough to make it down there and go catch the football. You know what I'm saying? So that is a big win for me this year is when we play the Dolphins. Other than that, man, the rest of these guys, they can go and fall into any other order they want to. WP is doing great with the Jaguars. I think they're going to be a little bit better this year, too, as well. Seahawks always play tough. Pete Carroll, USC alumni, love you, Pete, but you ain't there no more. You got rid of Marshawn Lynch and Russell Wilson. That team's not the same.
Yeah. All right. So if I were to go ahead and do my top 10, I feel like we do. I feel like we have a bit of a cheat code just based off of yesterday now, just because we saw the Chiefs' vulnerability. I just would have given the defending champs the respect. I'm just going to go based off of just preseason kind of rankings prior to week one, prior to the whole Chris Jones, Travis Kelce news out. I would personally put the Chiefs first. Now they're not because I'm actually seeing, the absence of Eric Bieniemy was very crucial, and you're starting to see they brought back Matt Nagy in. Matt Nagy was making Matt Nagy calls. It was looking very questionable. Right. So I would have had Chiefs first, just based off of just the Super Bowl biasness. Eagles second. Bengals would have been third for me. I think Bengals, they're always in the mix. They go toe to toe with the Chiefs. They beat the Chiefs. They're
more time. I think they're the team that beat the Chiefs more.
Exactly, and let alone it came down to even a questionable call last year that cost the Bengals that game. So I'll have the Bengals at number 3. When it comes to number 4, is where it starts to go ahead and get a bit interesting. Niners, I mean, sure. I know I just went on my tangent about the Niners. They tend to always be a Final Four team. They find themselves, in the conference championship game or last 2 years. So you have that. They still have that talented defense and still the good solid weapons on offense. Although I have my feelings about Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan, I'm gonna still give them the respect and put them at number 4. Number 5 for me, it will be Josh Allen and the Bills. Yeah. Although I'm not too high on them, just because they tend to be very lackluster towards the end of the year. I think that last year, the way that the Bengals handled the Bills, it was very disappointing on the Bills half. And for me, I was just like, okay, so who you guys are really at this moment in time? If I just saw Joe Burrow, to me that puts Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow way ahead of Josh Allen. But then Josh Allen the year before went toe to toe with Patrick Mahomes. So they're a bit unpredictable for me. So that's why they're at number 5. When it comes to number 6. Folks are not going to like this. It might be controversy, but Dallas Cowboys.
What the are you talking about? Do not put the Cowboys down.
I got the Dallas Cowboys at number 6. I have to put him at number 6 just because, for me, they tend to go ahead. We always tend to split with the Cowboys. I know that we're going to be going toe to toe with them in the division. They have a very good defense. They do. I think that people forget about the fact that they have Stephon Gilmore. So that cornerback duo with Stephon Gilmore and Trayvon Diggs. Although I don't really hype Trayvon Diggs like that. Sure, he'll give you an interception, but he'll also give up a 50-yard touchdown. And for me, that's a bit of a wash. So he just turns out to be just nothing but an average at best cornerback. But, Micah Parsons, he's still a beast at that defensive front. And of course, on the offensive side, they lost Dalton Schultz and the tight end game. I know they're trying to hype up with Jake Ferguson or whatever the case may be with him, but it's all about the receivers that they actually established. Brandon Cooks, he's a very underrated receiver that tends to go ahead and get lost in the mix throughout the years because he's still a 1,000-yard receiver. He still finds himself taking over the top. Michael Gallup this year is going to be healthy. He came off of a knee injury, stepping into 2022. And so I think that a full offseason with the healthy Michael Gallup will go ahead and put them in a good position. Tony Pollard. And again, like I said, on the defensive side, I forgot guys like the Jonathan Hankins, DeMarcus Lawrence's. And so that's why, I think that they put together a talented team and they go toe to toe with the Eagles. We haven't swept the Dallas Cowboys since I don't know when. And it's because they tend to challenge. They tend to challenge us. So for me, I'm just gonna tip my hat to the Cowboys. I'm gonna still put them at number 6. Number 7 is I like where the Jaguars are at there. I like where the Jags are at there. Doug Peterson, Trevor Lawrence. I think that he's going to be a quarterback that's going to shoot up in front where he's going to go ahead and be in that mix. I know we're all hyped on Justin Herbert, which I had the Chargers in my top 10. I'll tell you that. But I know that, but that being said, Trevor Lawrence, I think he will take that big leap this year. I think he's going to be a 30-plus touchdown quarterback. Doug Peterson, he'd be knowing what he's doing with these guys. Calvin Ridley is back. You got Christian Kirk, who's a 1,000-yard receiver. Evan Ingram totally changed his career and had a career turnaround. And Travis Etienne is a good, solid running back. So I like the Jags. They form together a solid defense, a respective defense. So number 7, number 8 will be Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. It's Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. Good team, great cornerbacks. Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson is going to be a very underrated player there. Signing Dalvin Cook is probably going to be a hidden gem for them, along with getting back Breece Hall. So that's going to be exciting. I know that they also brought in Alan Lazard and Randall Cobb. So guys that are Aaron Rodgers is comfortable and familiar with. Number 9. Ooh, okay. So number 9, I think I'll put Chargers and then Seattle at 10. I'll put Chargers at 9. Seattle at 10. I don't know. For some reason, Dolphins, I just don't trust Tua. I don't trust Tua. I don't like the fact that they lost Mike Gesicki as well. I know when you think of the Dolphins, they don't really have Jalen Ramsey. He's still banged up. And again, they have Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, but that's just about it. If you ask me, that's the only thing that gets me excited about the Dolphins. That's truly the only thing that gets me excited. I don't like Tua's inconsistency, nor Tua's Raheem Mostert and like and Devon I think Kane Shane, I don't even know how to say his last name, but that's just where I'm at with the Dolphins. I'm not Bradley Chubb, though, he's a very good linebacker, very good edge rusher. Xavier Howard. I mean, it's going to be change. It's going to change a lot once Jalen Ramsey is back. But however, him not being there for the first month of the season is going to be, is going to hurt a little bit. And for me, I don't know. I'm just not sold on the Dolphins like that. So that's why I'm gonna kick the Dolphins out of that top 10 and put the Chargers there.
The Chargers. You know what? One team that I would. I know I didn't finish my top 10, but you know who will be in my top 10 if neither one was said?
Who?
Ravens, man.
My God. Oh my God, yeah.
You got OBJ and the rest of the receiving core. They got Andrews, like one of the top 5 tight ends in the game. And they got some good running backs over there. That defense is pretty solid over there. They kept Patrick Queen. They didn't get rid of him over there on the defense side of football. I think the Ravens for sure too.
Oh, dude. Honestly, I mean, oh man, I mean, for crying out loud, yeah. That's a very underrated team that can go ahead and find themselves back in that top 10. We tend to forget that they were a 14-2 team, about 4 years ago, and that's because of Lamar Jackson. And now that he's got himself a set of receivers, the drafting Zay Flowers, signing Odell Beckham Jr., which he was good with the Rams before he blew out his knee. So we'll see. After taking a whole year off, he probably might have gotten
MVP that game. Let's keep a buck. You know what I'm saying? He don't get hurt in the game. He's your Super Bowl MVP. OBJ over that game, until he got hurt. Like there was no cup, there was no nothing. There was OBJ destroying that secondary play by play. And he did take a whole year off with that play.
Yep.
Would it hurt him? I don't know. But he was getting hurt a lot, so maybe it helped him.
Probably. I think that year off is going to help LBJ. But let's actually talk about the defensive side. You just mentioned Patrick Queen. They got the best linebackers in there because they got Roquan Smith. I remember they got Roquan Smith paired up with Patrick Queen in that secondary. They got Marlon Humphrey, along with signing Marcus Williams, and as well as signing when they drafted Kyle Hamilton as well, the safety from Notre Dame, and then also David Ajabo. And they also picked up Jadeveon Clowney as someone that's going to be rotating in there. So
I didn't even know they picked Clowney up.
They scooped up Clowney. So the Ravens are they're no joke. They're no joke. They're not ones to play with this year. So I respect that. I got to go ahead and acknowledge them, and they could easily be in that top 10 for sure in that top 10.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great season, guys. I'm just excited. I like to. We talked about a lot of different teams and how we felt about them. That's what you got to do before the first game. We're gonna definitely keep it dialed in. We're gonna end this off with some more of this little game because I want to show you this. They said the Eagles have the best quarterback, obviously. They're giving the running back edge to the Patriots, which I personally feel we got the edge of running back. Like Swift, how we talk about the Georgia Bulldogs having their teammates, you know what I'm saying? That's going to make all of them play so much better and so much faster and at a higher level. You got to think of this. What happened last time we brought a Philadelphian back to the Eagles, which was Hassan Reddick last year? He had 16 sacks, the best career he's ever had. 16 sacks. And if you want to add the playoff ones, he ended up with 18, 19 sacks for the season. That's what happened with Swift this year. I really feel it. I didn't even know Swift was from Philly until I watched his, recruiting video he did before he went to Georgia, and he was running through the streets of Philly. He's had Philly love for years, man. And to have him back in his hometown, I think more than anything, not just more than having the best offensive line, not just having Jalen Hurts, hold your linebacker to keep you open. That more than anything is going to make him ball out this year. I see Swift being an all-pro running back this year. Booty made the Pro Bowl. I think Swift makes a Pro Bowl, and he's all-pro this year. I think he's a monster, so I don't agree with that one. But the tight ends, obviously, I do. Receivers, obviously, I do. Offensive line, defensive line, yeah. Linebackers, another underrated thing where they do have proven linebackers. You got to give them that. We got secondary, and they say Belichick is the GOAT. So it's
that's a given. You know what I mean? It's just a bit of a sort of a cheat.
Of all time, yeah. In terms of the most recent, Nick's been 2-3 years now? 3 years, and if you take the 3 years that Nick's coached compared to Belichick, I'll give it to Nick.
I mean, Belichick's legacy is right now, it is being a bit challenged because at the end of the day, Brady left and Brady won a Super Bowl without Belichick. Yeah. Brady won a Super Bowl without Belichick. So right now, the legacies are being a bit challenged. Now, granted, he's still been able to go ahead and build a respective organization with the Patriots, and they're not necessarily losing a touch at all, really, because they, they still made the playoffs a couple years ago. They had a top 2 defense as well, and they were a playoff team back in 2021, and in 2022, Mac Jones has gone through his regressions, and that inconsistency is what cost that team, but they were still a competitive team throughout the year. Towards the final month of December, I think they're at 7-5 at one point before they kind of started to fall off. But for me, it's just Nick Sirianni, he's kind of proven to be a more innovative coach at this moment in time, and the more present day coach who has just the better roster. So, but I mean, I get it. I get why they will go ahead and say, "Oh, Belichick," they obviously over Sirianni just because it's Belichick. So, like I said, it's just an easy handout.
It's easy.
It's an easy handout. Exactly. I know with the DeAndre Swift situation, again, it would teeter top for me just because I think that the consistency of Ramondre Stevenson, it's funny because DeAndre Swift, he ran for damn near like 150 yards on the Eagles last year, but ended the season with only 500 yards, and he just kind of took a step back. But I know that he got banged up like after week 3, so I think that a lot of people they tend to forget about they tend to forget about DeAndre Swift because of just he got hurt towards the start of the year and just never really bounced back. But with Ramondre Stevenson, he just came off of a 1,000-yard rushing season. He was very active, almost 70 receptions, so very active in the backfield. I really like Ramondre Stevenson, and then you add that addition with Ezekiel Elliott, who's going to be coming in rotation. That's always a good addition to have. So I can see where they can go ahead and favor the Patriots running back just because of more of the consistency. I think that it's hard to always say the Eagles have the better running back set is because the Eagles, they don't show consistency on the running back. 1 week is going to be Rashad Penny, who's going to be rushing for 95 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then Kenneth Gainwell will have a 50 yards rushing and 75 yards receiving kind of day and has over 120 yards total yards, and then Jalen Hurts is going to be having several weeks. So I think that, because the Eagle running back position is so unpredictable, but here is the case though. Here is where I'm like, I get if you're talking about personnel, of course, Ramondre Stevenson, he is the best running back in that game or best talented running back if we're comparing all running backs. But the best rushing team is still the Philadelphia Eagles. You know what I mean? We're still the best rushing team. We will still rush for over 200 yards. Ramondre Stevenson will have 115 yards rushing, but that would just be it for the Patriots. We'll go ahead and have over 200 yards, and that's because DeAndre Swift will have 80 yards. Rashad Penny will have 45 yards. Jalen Hurts will have 75 yards, and then Gainwell will have 30 yards. So that's how we attack. So, I think that when they compare personnel, they're probably never going to favor the Eagles roster, although we're always going to be the better rushing team. So it's a tricky situation to compare.
And they got 2 players that might not play this game. You got to realize Juju might not play. I heard his knee's about to explode. And then Riley Reef, the right tackle, their starting right tackle, he's out. So he's not going to be.
They're already banged up at the line of scrimmage. They're already banged up.
And this is the wrong team to be hurt against. That for sure.
No, we're going to exploit that. So again, let's go ahead and close off here. I'm going to go ahead and give our final score prediction. I said it in my short, and I'm going to go ahead and still sticking by it. I have the Eagles winning 27-14. A 2-score win. You leave Foxborough beating this team by double digits by 13 points. I think that that's going to be a very convincing win. Maybe a bit of a slow start. We could see 7-7 middle of the second quarter, but an explosive play and a field goal to close off the half to make it 17-7 at halftime. And then another solid drive, maybe a long 8-minute drive to really wear and tear that defense to go up 24-7. Jake Elliott field goal and then a garbage time touchdown within 3 minutes left. That will make it 27-14 for the Patriots, or 27-14 Patriots just score on that garbage time touchdown. That's how I see this game envisioning. We walk out 1-0 leaving Foxborough. How do you see it go down? Play your scenario.
Hey, for me, it's 31-14. I don't think it's going to be very close. You get an early touchdown in the beginning of the game when we're shaking off the rust. You get a garbage time touchdown when our second team is in the game. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But other than that, I think this is going to be a full dominating game from the Philadelphia Eagles. I wanted to also ask you, who do you think was going to be a surprise impact player of the game? Because I think Jalen Carter is going to get, 2 sacks at least. And I think Jordan Davis is going to get a sack or 2 on there. I think those are 2 guys that you might not think will get the sacks. You look at the Reddicks, you look at the Flesh, you look at the BG. I think those guys are up the middle, because I know the Patriots center is not all-world center. And I think that those tackles are definitely going to destroy him this game and get to Matt Jones' unathletic self. So, I think, like I said, it's going to be a dominating game for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I look for the young buck, Jalen Carter, get on the board and make his case for what? Defensive rookie of the year. Yeah. Sunday, baby. It starts this Sunday. Carter's about to go put his name on the map. And Jordan Davis is going to put he's not a rookie. He's going to
I was going to say, so that's on your defensive side. Who would be your offensive player of the game, or offensive surprise, or offensive shocker?
Okay, I'm going to go. obviously Jalen Hurts. You know what I'm saying? Like he's
Okay.
gonna
Yeah.
go out. Like I feel like you will see from game one on over, on up the evolution of Hurts. The
Yep.
evolution of Hurts. We see them get better and better, but now this better is going to be a whole nother level that you never seen before. Like his
Yeah.
consistency is actually it's hard work that he put. That's all it is. Hard work that he put in the offseason will
A lot of hard
show
work.
game. I say, you know what? I'll give you a hot take. Jalen Hurts scores 5 touchdowns this
Oh, we
first
got
game.
5 touchdowns today. Okay.
How many points?
Five.
Hold on. No, because I said 31 points, so I might have to change my score because what's 5 times 7 is 35. So it's gonna be like 38-14. Let me change
Okay,
it. 38-14. Because Jalen Hurts gonna score 5 touchdowns. It's gonna be a couple to Devontae, a couple to AJ, and either Dallas Goedert or Swift might get that other touchdown. But I think
So you say he's thrown for 5 touchdowns. I'll say if Jalen Hurts was to have a 5 touchdown game, I'll say he throws for like 3 and runs for 2. If Jalen Hurts was to have a 5 touchdown game, just because that's just how he's able to score touchdowns. Let me see. For me, I will go ahead and say surprise player will be on the offensive side. I think Rashad Penny. When it comes to the Eagles offense, I think that we're going to be driving the ball down the field. We're going to start to punch that defense in the mouth, and then we get inside the 5, and then we randomly throw in Rashad Penny, and he's going to rush in a couple scores, 2 rushing touchdowns for Rashad Penny. I see. And then not a crazy stat line. I see us again. We give him like 6 to 7 carries for 18 to 20 yards. But again, we're giving him down inside the 5. So he's going to go ahead and punch it in for 2 scores. On the defensive side, I would say Nakobe Dean with at least 9 tackles. I would like to go ahead and see a promising start for our new middle linebacker. I think that will really that will really set the tone, and that will really give us a lot of hope in regards to that linebacker position in Nakobe Dean. So to have at least 9 tackles. Now, granted, who's going to be out there making the sacks? It could be anybody. Anybody could be picking off Mac Jones as well, but a particular prediction, a particular stat line I would like to go ahead and see will be Nakobe Dean with at least 9 tackles, and there I have it.
Hey, your theory might be right with the whole 5 touchdown. You gotta realize Jalen Hurts is 3 touchdowns away from breaking Cam Newton's record for most touchdowns. He only got 5 games to do it, the first 5 games to do it. But he might come out and get 2 right off the jump. So then he got 4 games to get 1 touchdown. We know damn well he's gonna do that. So like that's another big thing for Jalen, another milestone right there for Mr. Hurts.
Yes, sir.
His record. So it's gonna be an awesome electric game. No matter what, as long as they get the W, you know what I'm saying? That's all that really matters, Eagles Nation. Salute to all you guys for sticking with us. I will be at the home opener. So make sure if you're gonna be there, we link up and we freaking have some fun because I will be at the home opener against Minnesota. It's gonna be another great game. But like I said, this is gonna be not close at all. It's gonna be a blowout. And it's gonna be a one on blood you're gonna love to see because it's gonna be the way you open up a season. You open up the season as a dominating team. People still hate on the Philadelphia Eagles. They still hate on us. And they don't want to give us our props. You see that we're 3rd. They said we're 3rd best team. We are the best team in football. And damn it, they will respect us this year after week 1. So we're gonna definitely see what happens, man. Salute to you guys. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Fly, Eagles, fly on the flying take. And I'm going to say, y'all, enjoy football. Football is back. Hopefully you guys have a good, beautiful, safe weekend. We'll be back on next week on the flying take to go ahead and discuss the results to a hopefully 1-0 Eagles. I'm going to tell you this. The Chiefs fans, as much as they're celebrating the Super Bowl, they're bothered that they're 0-1 right now. So I'm going to say this. Take any type of win you want to take in the NFL, all right? We're going to come back next week. Eagles will be 1-0. We're going to come on here, and then we're going to talk more about it. So that being said, y'all have a good weekend. Thank you for tuning in to the Flying Take. It's your boy Darius, along with my man
BG31, and let's end it with our boy Jalen Hurts talking, and we out of here. Peace.
This room on the film, and what type of challenge do you expect for them to bring?
Great question. I think this is a great team, a well-coached team that we're about to play against in a very tough environment. And for us, we just have to control the things that we can. Going into it week 1, just doing our best and being clean and executing at a high level. But they have a ton of athletes on the back end, and their linebackers like a crew there. They play physical. They fly to the ball. And I think their D line, they have really good edge rushers. And the guys inside do a really good job as well.